Welcome to aehelp.com's IELTS test preparation videos. You will now see Alexei from Russia score a band 7 for his performance on the speaking interview. Afterwards, I will explain his score according to official IELTS marking criteria and give you tips on how you can improve. We are proud to partner with Cambly, a world-class app that lets you connect with a native English-speaking tutor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to master your speaking skills for your next test. Simply download the app and begin learning. Cambly has given us this discount code to try the app for free. Or you can use this code to save 40% when you sign up for a 12-month plan. The code and the links are in the video description. And don't worry, if you change your mind, Cambly will refund you for any unused minutes on 12 and 3-month plans. Simply download Cambly today and begin learning for success. Now watch and learn. Welcome to the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. I'm recording this for clerical and marking purposes. The speaking has 3 parts. I will give you instructions for each. This is candidate number 7351. We are currently doing the exam in Kiev at 15 o'clock. Can you please show me your identification?
Yes, please have a look. This is my passport. I use it for registration for the test.
Okay. And can you please just pull down your mask? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, put your mask back on. Excellent. And what is your full name?
My family name is Yakhantov and my given name is Alexei. Please just call me by given name Alexei.
Okay, Alexei. So for part 1, I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. Do you work or study?
Outside of studying for this test, I work full-time as marketing strategist for a large food company.
What do you do in your free time?
When I have a free time for myself, I like to do painting and drawing. Like this last week, I just finished a landscape painting I have been working on for a while.
Let's talk about gifts. How often do you give presents?
Well, I'm fortunate enough to have a large family and lots of friends. So I give gifts quite often, at least once or a couple of times a week. And just last month I gave some care package to my parents for their anniversary, and this care package some delicacies.
What is your favorite gift that you received?
Oh, interesting question. If I must say, it would be the ring I got from my father for my graduation.
Why do people give presents to each other?
People give gifts to each other to show that they care of and to memorize some important dates like birthday, anniversaries, wedding, and so on.
Which situations are common to exchange gifts?
The most common situation to exchange gift will be a special event like, again, birthday, wedding, some graduations or religious holiday like Christmas, for example. I always make sure I have some gifts for my family and friends on Christmas.
How has gift giving changed in the past 10 years?
Well, it has been definitely big changes in this tradition. And nowadays people more often use digital gifts like gift certificate to online shopping like Amazon or another gift certificates like for Google Play, things like that.
If you could give any gift to any person, what would you give and who would you give it to?
Oh, let me think about it. Well, I will give a horse to my daughter because she was dreaming about it the whole last year, and I would give it to her for her birthday.
That is the end of part 1. Now we will continue with part 2. For part 2, I will show you this card with some questions. Please do not touch the card. You have some note paper there in front of you and your pen. You will have 1 minute to look at the questions on the card. Think about your answers, and then you will have 2 minutes to speak. You can take notes in the 1 minute if you wish. I will tell you when to start and when to stop.
Okay.
Please do not touch the card. Yeah. Talk about a famous historical figure that lived over 500 years ago. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now.
Why this person famous?
Alexei, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay. One of the most noteworthy Russians who lived and ruled over the 500 years ago at the end of 14th centuries and the start of 15th centuries is the Tsar Ivan III. He is characteristically depicted as the fit man with a long beard and mustache and like stern look. Well, Tsar Ivan III has a number of great accomplishments during his 40-some odd years of reign. And the most notable is freeing the Russian people from the oppression and control of golden hordes of Mongolia. The Mongols had seized control of Russia for about 200 years prior to that. Ivan was very hard-working, ruthless and clever strategist, which allowed him not only to drive out invading forces, but also to unite Russian people under one strong leadership. While he was in power, he was also commissioning a number of historical landscapes, which can be found all around Russia nowadays, and that are visited by millions of tourists every year. He had the Kremlin renovated and restored beyond its former beauty. He was really visionary, and he wants to build a country the Russians will be proud of. I think Ivan III is a very interesting person, to say the least, and I think he made decision to the best of his ability for himself as a ruler and for Russian people as well. I'm certain that he was quite aggressive and tyrannical, but I also think that was a type of ruler Russia needed that time.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Your 2 minutes is up. And can you please just turn over the note paper, put it to the side, and the pen, and I'll take back the card, and now we will continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you a question in relation to your part 2 response and some questions connected to the topic of part 2. If you had the chance to meet Ivan III today, what would you ask him?
Oh, that's an interesting question. If I had the chance to meet him, I would probably ask him about his opinion on modern politics, and his opinion on what is the best way to do right now, how to change the political landscape right now to improve the future living of Russian population.
Let's talk about history. Why is it important for people to learn about history in school?
It is important to learn about history in school so people know the roots and causes and events which shape up the modern society. By knowing the history, people can understand the current world situation better and hopefully make better decisions for the future.
What are effective ways to teach history to students?
I think the most effective way to teach history is through the lots of visual aids like book and videos, and also a very effective way to learn is group project, group study in class. For example, I remember much about Ivan III because we did a study project with my classmates in high school.
Are history books always accurate? Why or why not?
Well, unfortunately not. The history books often do not reflect at least all truth. Yeah, I think that happens because people in authority write the history books so to benefit themselves in the current situation, the current times.
Some people believe that humans tend to repeat their mistakes from past history. Do you agree with this?
Yes, I do. Unfortunately, society learns something from history, definitely, but unfortunately they keep doing the same mistakes over and over again, like fighting wars. Like history shows that fighting wars not good for the society, for economy and so on, but it's continue now.
Can you elaborate?
For example, we have many examples of history that fighting war in a faraway land is not end well, will never end well. But still, we have this example of modern history. Then societies like European or American fight war in Asia or in Middle East. It's never end well.
Okay, let's talk about affecting the future. How do people's decisions today affect the future of human history?
People's decisions today affect the future in many contexts. And it affects the world we live in, such as city, the environment, and people's perspective on life, such as moral values.
Can you give some examples?
Yes, if we care about environment, if we care about the forest and animals, and we can teach future generations to be about compassion and hard working, then it's most likely that future generation will also going to adopt these moral values in future.
What are some of the greatest challenges that societies have to consider now in order to ensure a better future?
It is commonly agreed upon that the greatest challenges the world faces today is managing the pollution, environment, and global warming. If people can work together, can work with nature and work with the governments to make sure there is no pollution, to stop pollution of environment, to make sure there is still good forests, clean water, and plenty of food for future generations.
That is the end of part 3. That concludes the speaking portion of the exam. You will have your mark in a couple weeks with the other sections in the mail, your certificate, and you will be able to see your mark online in a few days. Have a great rest of your day, Alexei. Remember your passport.
Thank you, Adrian. And
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Why does Alexei get a band 7 for his performance on this speaking interview? His overall score is a band 7, and the breakdown of his score according to official IELTS marking criteria are as follows. For fluency and coherence, his score is a 6 to 7. His score for grammatical range and accuracy is a 6. His score for lexical resource is between a 7 and an 8. And his score for pronunciation is around a band 7. Overall, he would get a band 7. Now, let me explain this to you in a little bit more detail. Fluency and coherence refers to the candidate's ability to speak continuously without pausing to think about grammar or vocabulary or even ideas. This is grouped together with coherence because fluency has a direct effect on the examiner's ability to understand the candidate. If the candidate's fluency is low, meaning that they stop often to think about ideas, vocabulary, grammar, that also decreases the listener's ability to understand what the candidate is trying to say. Although Alexei has a strong start in part 1 with a lot of clarity and fairly good coherence, this decreases significantly in part 2 and especially in part 3. If we were to give Alexei individual scores for each of the parts, his part 1 would be a band 8, his part 2 would be around a band 7, and his part 3 would be around a band 6. However, overall, the fluency for the entire interview is closer to a band 6-7. Why does this happen? There are 2 reasons. Firstly, in part 2 and 3, questions are more specific and detailed. They require a greater level of knowledge of the English language, meaning more vocabulary and more grammar. Here, Alexei has more difficulty coming up with clear ideas and keeping those ideas connected. Also, Alexei starts quite confidently. However, in part 3, perhaps because of his lack of fluency, he starts to lose confidence and he tends to mumble the end of his answers and explanations. It is important to be confident throughout your interview. Do not lose confidence. If you get stuck for ideas, quickly think of an example. All right, let's discuss the other factors affecting Alexei's score. In fact, Alexei does produce very good vocabulary, meaning that he has a broad range of words. The examiner would estimate that Alexei knows at least several thousand words in the English language, and he's able to use them quite well in context, paraphrasing key words from the questions and using some detailed vocabulary for certain explanations and examples. So Alexei has good vocabulary, and that's why his vocabulary score would be around a band 8. However, Alexei does make numerous mistakes when it comes to grammatical accuracy. Even though he has a good range of grammar, meaning he is able to use present perfect and conditionals, he doesn't use grammar accurately in many instances. In some cases, he has misplaced articles. In some cases, he's missing the plural S for plural nouns. If you review his responses, you can identify quite a few of such mistakes. Therefore, his grammatical accuracy is low. It would be around a band 6. Once again, grammatical accuracy is very important for coherence. At the end of the day, the examiner is asking themselves, how well can I understand this candidate? And in this instance, grammatical accuracy is very important. Finally, pronunciation. Yes, it is clear that Alexei has a thick Russian accent. However, the examiner can understand most of the words that Alexei is saying, even though he has a thick accent. Pronunciation is not as important as many people think. Even with a thick accent, you can get a high band score, as long as the examiner can understand you. Once again, coherence is king. Make sure to pay attention to these points. Let me give you a couple of tips on how to do this. You must focus on increasing your coherence score. When you do that, you will get a higher overall band score for your speaking interview. In order to do this, make sure to improve your grammatical accuracy and your fluency. One good way to do this is with the help of your mobile phone. Whether you're practicing your speaking alone or with a partner, record the interview, identify mistakes, fix the mistakes, re-record, and then listen again. As well, remember this basic structure. Answer, explain, example. Use the question the examiner is asking you in your response. If the examiner asks you, what do you like about your home? Say that in my home, I really like the big bright windows and the dark hardwood floors. If you get stuck for ideas, remember that you can quantify your explanations. This means using numbers. The windows in my living room are 2 meters high and 1.5 meters wide. This will give more coherence and more fluency. Make sure to practice these skills at home before your next IELTS exam. For many more videos like this one, check out our premium packages. Good luck the next time you sit your IELTS exam. I took the official IELTS exam in Budapest, Hungary, and you can now watch my Band 9 IELTS journey exclusively on our websites at aehelp.com and glshelp.com when you sign up for our premium package. In this series, you will see me register for the exam, get prepared, take the test, and receive my marks with some feedback. I give you strategies throughout the series to maximize your scores. Begin learning with us today. Subscribe to our channel. Click over here. Watch another video. Click right up here. And click our IELTS Hero to join our premium package and get access to all of our videos, practice exams, and a fully interactive course.